Hey there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we talk about 4 interesting news stories in the world, get you a fun library fact, and send you on your way in about 15 to 20 minutes. As always, if you have a story you'd like us to share, Creation Station at Broward.org comes right to me. And today I have a special backup person. Thank you very much, Loren, for being here. Loren is our outreach coordinator for the Broward County Library System, and he joins in as a guest with like 3 minutes notice because he is so good at this kind of stuff. How you feel, Loren?
All right, Bob. Thanks. Thanks for the invitation. I'm happy to fill in here for you. Or with you, I should
What's
say.
going on? What's going on with the stuff? I know there was just a big article on the beach cleanup that you did.
We had a very
That just
successful Earth
made a
Day
big
beach
thing.
cleanup in April, and that's look forward to having that as an annual event. It's very important, not only to the locals, but it's a worldwide initiative. So we're just happy to be part of it.
And you got something else coming up soon, I think, too.
Yeah, May 14th, we are exploring the world of travel. Broward County Library is hosting our travel expo.
I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Isn't there something he's doing?
Southwest Regional Library in Alpha.
I actually talked about it on the show, on this show last week, about people could go out there and do the Google Earth stuff.
Yeah, the Google Earth, and then we'll also have some vendors on site, including Jamaican Board of Tourism, USVI, U.S. Virgin Islands will be present. We'll have a cruise company, a couple cruise companies, a couple travel agents marketing their destination, and also locally we'll have Visit Lauderdale, which is our tourism department within Broward County. It drives all of our tourism from cruises to conferences to local attractions for our residents of Broward County. And then we'll also have a local resident. We'll have a local vendor on premises also to promote their business. Sawgrass Recreational Park who's been a big-time supporter of Broward County residents and education.
Yeah, I've gone out there a couple times. Yeah, it's really a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, you have to take advantage and try to do one of their night airboat rides.
Oh,
it's totally worth it.
Be fun. I've been out to Markham at night, but I haven't been out on an airboat. That would be nice.
Yeah, it's quite an experience.
Yeah. Speaking of long trips, though, let's get into our first story here, which is all about those classic science fiction stories of you go into hibernation, you put somebody into deep sleep, put them in the gel pack, however whichever way they talk about it, and ship them off. And they wake up years later, all fresh and happy. And, well, it looks like it's not going to happen. Most likely. How much do you like to sleep, Loren?
Oh, I enjoy a good nap every once in a while. But I don't know about years worth of napping. I wish they would shorten it like a teleporting, and I could travel across the country in quicker than 6 hours. But
yeah, that would be a very nice thing. So this whole idea here is what happens is when you talk, one of the key parts of the article talks about is when you think of hibernation, so many people think about bears. Bears go into their den, they sleep, and they wake up in the spring. And that's not actually hibernation. They actually wake up, they move around, they might actually eat something, come out of their den maybe, depending upon how much snow and stuff is around. Animals that really hibernate, bats, mice, things like that, have a much smaller body mass. So they lose a tremendous amount of their body mass during the hibernation, and then they have to eat all that back up when they first come out. That's why bears are all hungry when they come out of their den, and mice and all the squirrels. On a human, they figured out that equivalent is 12,000 kilojoules of calories just to recover.
So kilojoules, why don't you explain that a little bit for me?
So the normal person needs about 2,000 calories per day. And that is, you'd be eating something along the lines of, if my math is right here, about 8 days worth, because it's not a pure kilojoule to calorie count. You'd be eating roughly about 8 days worth of food just to recover right away. And then you still have to keep eating and doing all the stuff. So one of the reasons it doesn't work is because, and for example, let me get this other one for us here, is the same reason, as we go into this here, the idea of how many grams you'd have to eat, you don't save anything. Because if you manage to put them into hibernation, you still need to maintain X amount of grams of calories going in to keep the person alive. And then when they come out, they have to get all of those calories and everything like that back right afterwards. So the whole idea is the only thing that's different about it is that they're asleep, and that's all that they have to deal with. You don't gain anything by putting somebody to sleep that way.
Right. Well, hibernation is basically slowing down the heart rate and your metabolism. So you're still eating calories. Your body's still eating calories when you sleep, so you have to replenish that. Yes.
So basically what we're saying is it's just not an effective thing. It's something, even if we do perfect it and figure out a way to make it work, it's not going to be any different because you still have to carry along all that food, all those calories, all that stuff with them. You don't save any energy by doing that. In fact, you probably just make it worse by consuming extra energy from your starship by having to put people in hibernation.
True.
It's a mess.
True.
It's just a mess. It's a cool science fiction idea. But I'm going with you on teleportation. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
It makes for a good movie, right?
Yeah. There we go. And the other story, that one of the other fun stories I found this week, was all about sleep again. I guess once you find one, they just start trickling in on you. All those algorithms. But this is the largest study in decades that they've done on what sleep actually is for people and how much you need based on your age, sex, all the various things. And so it turns out it's not a nice standard thing. And as always, all the links for these will be in our show notes for you so you can see them, because there's a lot of little charts here to dig into, which I thought was pretty interesting. So if you look at some of this stuff, to get your duration going, how many hours you need of sleep duration is always on the bottom of all these graphs, is how many hours. You can see where almost every single graph is right around the 7-hour mark, is right at the peak. There are all sorts of extra little things that do into. So I thought this one here for mental health, for anxiety. If you get fewer than 4 hours of sleep, your anxiety symptoms start to spike. If you get more than 12 hours of sleep, your anxiety symptoms start to spike. So it's not you just need a little bit of sleep and then you can wake up. It's not, just get your 8 hours. There's an actual range of that 6 to 8.5 hours that's perfect for your anxiety symptoms. It also happens to be good for depression symptoms and for general mental distress symptoms.
Well, it has to be solid sleep too. It can't be a restless sleep. So, I mean, you could operate on 6 hours of good sleep better than 8 hours of restless sleep, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, they talk about that too in this article. Yeah, they get really in depth about this, about what is that? What is that continuous sleep versus how many hours you need of that duration of that sleep. And they actually say if you need to get up, go to the bathroom, go pee, come back to bed, like a whole bunch of older people, you all know who I'm talking about. You get up, you go use the bathroom, you come back to bed. That counts as good solid sleep as long as you're not interrupting it with devices or other things going on.
Yeah, studies have
So,
shown just, you should always, no TV in your bedroom.
yep.
Put down any phone or electronics at least an hour prior to going to sleep to
I'm
decompress.
horrible guilty about that
Right.
one.
Well,
Now
yeah,
I do have,
most people
yeah,
will watch a TV program or the news, and then they'll get up and go to bed without decompressing.
yeah, no, I
And it
definitely decompress. I walk away. I make sure that there's no TV. I walk away, but then I will try to get off the phone, but my phone automatically turns to grayscale to, to make it a very less enjoyable experience unless you're just reading. Um, and I usually have my Kindle there that I'm reading, so it's just e-ink. So there's no lights, there's no
hmm
nothing else to go like that. But yeah, and I've got my I think ticks my wife off sometimes. She's like, "What do you mean you're leaving?" I'm like, "Time to go bed. Time to go. Now is the time. Go in the bedroom, turn the lights off, try and calm down, relax, maybe play a meditation." I've been doing that a lot this last year, doing a meditation
Okay.
at night before bed.
I just try to capture like a sound, like a ceiling fan or a floor fan, just that hum, that
Mm.
relaxes you. No medications,
Oh yeah, yeah.
no melatonin, or a number of people need different means of getting relaxed and going to sleep. But I think a lot of it has to do now with the technologies and
Yep.
always having that computer in your hand that is not good.
Yep. And that's why your
Yourself.
hand hurts when you wake up in the morning because you had it gripped around a phone. At least that's what I tell my wife.
Hand and neck from always looking down.
And then we have one other story. Now, this is an unusual one that I wanted to bring up for everybody because I felt it really went along with what we've been talking about so far today. And it's a really good example of what the library can do for you. So, The Economist, really fun magazine to read sometimes out there. They've got a wide ranging stories. And yesterday, they did this nice little write up on the quantified self. So the quantified self is basically what you are doing when you track things that you do. You're quantifying information about yourself, whether that is as simple as tracking the calories and the food that you eat, weighing yourself, very simple, straightforward things like that. Or you can go way off the deep end with, trackers that keep track of everything that you do in your life and do all the different stuff. And so there's a set of 5 articles here. And if you're out there right now today trying to go read these and you're like, "Bob, what did you just do?" Because for example, here we go, apps integrating data from your wearable devices to help you live better. So being able to take an app and it feeds in from your heart rate and it feeds in from your various things. And as you start reading the article, it's like, "Wait, Bob, I got to log in. I got to go pay." No, you don't. I'm not going to do that to you. Come here to the library website. You can come right here to ebooks, audiobooks, e-magazines. And when you click there, you're going to come down to, come on. There you go. You're going to be able to come down and scroll through all of them. The fast, easy one for me is if you just come straight here to magazines and journals, that brings you to Gale. Oh, stop. See, I brought it up too early and now I got to bring it back. Okay. Dum, bum, bum. Stop. Coming back. Journals. Your magazines. And now you're right here for Gale, and you can look up any of them that you want. So you can just come here and look up Economist. Doing this live in person, making sure that The Economist, because it is an actual magazine. There you go. And so you've got all of your, boom. And here you go. Everything that they've done, 130 of them in there and all that kind of stuff. So you'll be able to come and do these. So real quick, because we're already running out of time because this is what we do, about these ideas. What do you think about this concept of being a quantified self, Loren? How much stuff do you track about yourself?
Personally, it's usually steps throughout the day, and then if I'm riding a bicycle, it's the miles or not so much calories. It's the miles
Do
or the time that I'm spent exercising more so than
you have
doing a
devices or
calorie
do you
watch.
use
I
apps?
use whatever's on my phone. It's an app on my phone. I know a number of people
Cool.
who use the Apple Watch or the Samsung Watch, and
Yep.
I just I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I just think there's too much when you start putting things on a watch or anything. People can just tap into everything. Not like they can't tap into your phone, but it's just another means of.
Yeah.
I don't even like to talk to my doctor about half this stuff, so I couldn't imagine putting things on a watch that someone can, if you happen to lose it, not that it's any personal information, but still it's just a mental thing, I guess, on my part.
Yeah, no, and that's a fair assessment. Lots and lots of people out there are like that. I mean, I have a pedometer that I keep in my pocket, and it doesn't connect to the internet. It doesn't connect to anything. I
Hmm.
take it home and I plug it in, and there's a database on my computer that I store all that information on. I do have a watch that I also get notifications and can track heart rate and things like that for me. But it's from Withings. It's a healthcare company, so they're not a tech company trying to sell me a health gadget. They're a health company out of France that just happens to make gadgets.
Okay.
And I've got a scale from them and heart rate blood pressure monitor and stuff like that.
Yeah, a number of people
So
they'll use the Apple Watch to monitor their sleep, and then going back to your our first discussion about having sleep issues and the amount of time you can rest. You put your heart at rest, so that they said, "Oh, I got 6 hours last night," or I was up in the middle of the night. So this kind of
yeah,
monitors that, and they can even make it accessible to your doctor. So
yeah, and that's one of those things
they
is
can
being able
monitor.
to share.
Yeah.
Yep,
Hmm.
and I think the knowing part is really good. I think that one of the worries that I have about it, and a lot of other people have expressed, is if you obsess over it.
Right.
Like for me, I look at my thing and I do all my calorie counts and I do all my weight, and I'm like, it's okay. Whatever it was today is just what it was today. I can look at the overall scheme and say, okay, for the last month, I've got this trend going up and down and doing my stuff, and I'm going to be okay. And I know how I feel about that.
Yeah, the day-to-day monitoring of certain things is not healthy mentally.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah,
when you're doing a weight check, do you weigh yourself every day? I mean, it varies from the time of day that you weigh yourself. If you
yeah. You
do
got
it
to be
weekly,
consistent about
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah. If you do it weekly or monthly, I mean, if you're under a doctor's care and he wants to check your blood pressure, well, we know that can change every 2 minutes. So how can you say if you have high blood pressure in January and you go back in July and you're fine, without checking
yeah,
it on a regular basis? It's kind of
yep,
how can
exactly.
how can they
You're right.
determine you have high blood pressure if you're seeing them every once a year? You know.
That's definitely one of the things that's out there for people that you really need to pay attention to is, knowing these things and all of these different ideas of different types of wearables. What is going to work for you? Is it going to be the watch? Is it going to be one of those new rings? Those they've
Hmm.
got those rings that they've been using. The NBA gave them out to all their players to help track things and stuff like that. So there's a lot of possibilities, and the real point of this is just to introduce everybody to the concept
Right.
of what
Well,
do you need to keep, what do you need to keep knowing about yourself, and what's going to make you feel better about it without driving you crazy.
you went to The Economist. That's not the only magazine that we have on file, of course, in the libraries. You can still come in and check out healthy style magazines or read magazines, recipes
Yep.
to improve your health.
Yeah, we've got everything
Consumer
you need.
reports, if you want to look at something, what do you think is best to buy if it's a watch or a fitness
Yeah.
monitoring
And some
system?
good, yeah, and all those good things to do. Yeah, you can get to consumer reports through the library website, folks, from home.
Hmm.
So come on,
True.
take care of these things, take care of it, and look, do your research. Make sure you're picking out things that are right for you at your time, where you are in your life, etc. We've done stories on this show in the past about how Instagram and how, affects how people view themselves, or being on camera all the time during this Zoom age of the pandemic, and how that affects how people think about themselves and what you're thinking about doing. So, yeah,
Definitely, yes.
it's one of those things that I think just take a little bit, like you said, think about it for yourself. Just be calm, think about what's important for you and what's not, and then we go from there.
True. Yep. A lot of self-consciousness come out of the last 18 months. So
Yes, there we go. That's the word we're looking for. Excellent. Thank you, sir. So, tell people what you actually do. We talk about some of your events. Tell people what outreach does for the library system and how they could get in touch with you.
well, outreach is a community program, all ages. You know, we do a lot with our public schools, and we just go out and educate the community on what the library services has to offer. It's not all about books. We have financial programs. We have programs on technology like Bob here does on a weekly basis. We have adult programming. We help programs for our veterans, tutoring for children, all ages, language classes through Rosetta Stone, a free service with your library card. So it's just a matter of going out and reminding people and informing people what the library has to offer. It's a meeting place for the community. Use it it's a service. Use it. If you need a meeting room, we have meeting space. You want to do a book club, come on out and join us and start a book club. It's
a lot of the stuff is all available.
Community center for everyone.
Yeah, Broward.org/library to see all these things Loren's talking about. We've got it all out there. If somebody wants you to come out to an event, how do they get in touch with you, Loren?
They can feel free to email me at Forcier, that's the letter L, then Forcier is Forcier at Broward.org. We'd be happy to put a program together for you and your residents or your community.
It was fun. We just did one for the YMCA for a family day. Was it last week? I think I was doing one.
Yeah.
And we had the Hollywood branch out there with us. So yeah, this is something the whole system does all over the place.
Yeah, we did a big back to school back to kindergarten, welcome the kindergarten program on the same day. So we had over 1,000 kids that are preparing themselves to go back to school. So that was another big event we're doing. So a lot of awesome job fairs, resource fairs. The resources are available for anyone within Broward County.
Yeah.
So
it's a really great thing. Stop by
your local branch and ask some questions. Ask questions. You will not know if you do not ask. So.
And speaking of, we need to stop here because we're going way over time now for this. Thank you so much, Loren, for being here. As always, if there's a favorite librarian or location you'd like to see featured, give us a shout. creationstation@broward.org. Thank you all very much for being here. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, Bob. Take care, everyone.